The Hunter Biden deal wasn't just about tax issues. That had little to do with it. The Hunter Biden deal was about prohibiting Hunter from ever being prosecuted for anything under federal law. And because that's the only thing that would prohibit him from being turned as a witness against his father, President Joe Biden. And that's the only thing that would prohibit it from being subject to future grand juries or subject to a potential public trial with a lot of evidence coming out. That was always the point and purpose of that deal. It wasn't a tax deal. It wasn't a gun deal. It was cover up the real corruption and fraud deal. So but what they did a little bit procedurally unique is I said I was real curious about where and what the immunity language said. Just how broad was it? And it turns out they placed it in the gun diversion deal rather than the tax deal. And so they hadn't published it to the world. So it's that procedural abnormality where they were doing kind of a double-level deception that the court found that the court was like, hold on a second. What exactly? And all she was doing was a basic colloquy saying, okay, before we go through this deal, before I accept the deal that's been offered, and before Mr. Hunter Biden pleads guilty to it pursuant to the deal, it should be made clear exactly what immunity is being granted here. The government was hoping that would never become public. And so the government was like, oh, no, there's still ongoing investigations. It's not that broad. And, of course, Hunter Biden's lawyers are like, on the record, it covers everything. Because you don't want that to be that's the whole point of the deal. And so the judge was like, well, since you guys don't even know what the immunity is that's part of the deal, how in the world can I accept a plea deal or approve a plea deal where it's not clear what the immunity is? Now, contrary to some reports, she hasn't blown up the plea deal yet. She simply delayed deciding whether to accept it or not. But the way in which they were what she's forcing them to do is put in clear writing in the core tax deal itself exactly the scope and scale of immunity being given Hunter. And that was the one thing they did not want the world to fully know, that what this deal was really about is an in perpetuity immunity for Hunter, because that's critical to make sure he can never be flipped against Papa Joe. If they end up having to take out that immunity, it may be the case that Hunter's lawyers don't want to do any deal. But then the prosecution is kind of stuck because now it's already public that this investigation exists at all. And so so everybody's kind of caught. What the Hunter's team would like is for the government to just put it in plain writing and just swallow it. Problem is, the judge may not accept it because, as she noted, a lot of these things were extraordinarily unusual and that she was uncomfortable with everything that was being requested. So there's that aspect. There's the aspect of the whole world finding out that this whole deal is about carte blanche immunity into perpetuity for Hunter. But the flip side is, do you do no deal? Then do you go to trial on the other stuff? What do you do? So everybody's kind of caught, and then they're in a tight time frame to produce information to the judge for the judge to assess whether or not to accept the deal. Again, the judge hasn't fully rejected it. This is a federal district court judge appointed by Trump. But hasn't accepted it yet either. She's forcing them to do something in public they were trying to hide. So we'll see how it all unfurls and unfolds.